As I introduce our next speaker, I feel like I need to warn you. I'm about to welcome up the chairman of the board for Rising Leaders, Lamarque Ward Sr. Fasten your seatbelts. Having had the privilege of serving on the board alongside of Lamarque, I can tell you from experience that I rarely hear him speak without feeling both energized and challenged by the work in front of us. He knows from experience what he's talking about. He's lived it. Lamarque is himself a rising leader, not with the title per se, but with the experience and credentials. Having received the help of others to discover and develop his own talents for it, he now serves tirelessly to equip young people to discover their purpose and reach their full potential. Lamarque equips his family. He is a husband and a father to the Ward Nation. Lamarque equips and inspires students and those who teach and guide them. He's the president of Dream Builders University, an organization that optimizes school cultures across our city and our country through life-transforming, evidence-based interventions and professional development services. Lamarque equips through his organizing. He's the founder of the Men and Women of Promise Conference. And he equips through his writing. Lamarque is the author of numerous books for young people, including Competing as a Lifestyle, You versus You, A Student's Guide to Greatness, and Malik the Difference Maker, children's book series. Lamarque equips through his speaking. He's a speaker and a coach on the John Maxwell team, and as a side hustle, he pastors a church. He has completed a host of degree programs, including a master's in education, in part while playing college basketball. He's a lifelong learner who finishes what he starts and continuously looks to elevate his game. Lamarque continues to inspire me. Prepare yourself to be inspired, and please help me give a warm welcome to my friend, Lamarque Ward Sr.
Well, wow. This is truly a power breakfast. Thank you, Brian. Glad you got to meet my wife this morning, and thank you can see in her eyes, you know what you mean to me. When I'm humbled, when my first meeting as the chairman of the board, I had never been the chairman of the board. And it was my story then, and it's still my story now. And say, well, I've never done this before. I still don't know if I know what I'm doing yet. My wife, oh man, where's the queen? There she is. All right. Been married this year for 20 years, right? 20 years. Man, I don't know who I would be without you. She has stabilized me when I couldn't stabilize myself. So many people here that I know, love, and trust. I use those words specifically because I don't do business with people I don't know, love, and trust. And many of my friends and people who invested in me, mentored me, taught me as on my journey as rising leader. I call Ty rising leader number 1. I guess I'm rising leader number 0. All right. My story, I'm just a kid from inner city. I'm from Moosewood and Millville. My house is torn down now. It was a place, the address used to be 3201 Beekman Street. And, growing up there, you had to figure it out in a hurry. I remember working at Simmering Tile for $3 an hour. I was stocking tile jobs, right? I hated that job. That job was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. We would go to Florida Tile, me and Paul, and I was about 12, 13 years old. We would pick up the tile in this F-250. We would go to Zarian home sites. I remember going to Barry Larkin's first house at Amberley Village, and And I would get there, and it was just me, this little skinny teenage kid. And I'm like, man, I hate this job. I'm like, and then I came up with a novel idea. Man, if you empty the truck, you get to go home. And I've been learning how to empty the truck since then. You know, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I am in the drawer. That's what I tell people.
That's all right.
I graduated from Aiken High School with a 1.9 GPA. I was a teenage dad, like Dr. Banks. Dr. Banks was a teen. I was 18. I had my first son, and my story and her, or our stories mirror. And but basketball opened doors for me. When you're in the top 100 players in the country, when you can get a McDonald's certificate, and they come to school and honor you, I like to tell people that'll buy you a chance at life. And so, because of that 1.9, I couldn't take that scholarship to Xavier, so I had to go to junior college in Texas. I had to work with what I had, right? So basketball, in comparison to David's slingshot, basketball was my slingshot, right? I didn't understand the power of education at that time, but I did know that I could compete and nobody could outwork me, right? And so I used that as a door-opening tool. And so, because of basketball, it opened doors for me, many doors for me. One of those doors was locally, was when Ed Berg wrote me a letter. He tried to get me to help him with Saturday morning hoops. Kent probably doesn't know this. I said no at first. But he wrote a letter to my home, and my wife got the letter, and she said, "You will help him." And that changed my life. And so to those mentors and lid lifters, many people, even in this room, helped me become the man I am today. Our intentions, right? I mean, I know people come to events like this all the time. They hear about people doing great work in the community. We want to inspire, equip, and empower young adults to participate in their own rescue. Just let that sink in a little bit, right? To participate in their own rescue. My life would have never changed if I didn't take ownership along with the support. Here, I would not be the chairman of a board of an organization where we didn't expect young people to participate in their own rescue. They got to write a plan. They got to accept a coach. We track organizational wage, and are they doubling in wage now, and all of those kind of things. But we expect something from them. Why do we expect something from them? Because we believe in a creator of the universe, and I believe that the creator of the universe does not make junk. Even if I take a $100 bill, if I step on a $100 bill and I crumble it up, it still has value.
That's right. That's right.
And so when this organization, we take that $100 bill in the form of our kids and we dust it off, we unravel it, and it takes time, and we work with our partners like back to back, and we help them with mental health assistance, and then we still expect something from them. My son, that son I had in high school, struggled through high school. He's a truck driver now. Proud of my son, right? Married, and he went to a little small Christian school on the east side of town, and his senior year, I had to write a letter to him as his father. And, you might not think what I had to write was so nice. And in the letter I said, nobody cares how tough your life was unless you win or die. They'll talk about it at your funeral, or they'll share your story because you won.
Amen.
Amen. And so I'm excited today. With confidence, we are launching, right, an investment fund. Everybody take a deep breath. We're asking for $2 million. That's right. Just let that sink in. Right, $2 million over the next 3 years. Why $2 million? With that $2 million over the next 3 years, we'll impact over 400 lives. We have a program that goes into schools now that's called Launch, where rising seniors who are not equipped to leave high school. Most kids in the urban core leave high school and walk off what I like to call a cliff. They walk off a cliff into life. One of my colleagues and dear friends, business partners, Kathy Wright, former principal of Hughes High School. We were doing some things a couple weeks ago at Xavier University with a group of kids. And she told a story. I never heard her tell the story. She said, the worst day of the year for me is the day after graduation. Because kids still show up to the building because they do not know what to do. And so now, one of those little things, right, when I read these business articles and research business plans and things like, one of the things that came out of our efforts at Rising Leaders is that we can help schools prepare seniors. And we call it the Launch Program. And so now our 100 Rising Leaders in that time will impact over 5,000 young lives. I'll say it this way. One of my favorite movies is Apollo 13. And in the beginning of the movie, I love the scene. It moves me every time. Tom Hanks is sitting in the backyard. His wife's kind of tipsy. She's stumbling around. And he said, it wasn't a miracle that we put a man on the moon. We just decided. And so within this organization, all the different touch points, we have the little lady with the big spirit. One day, she just decided that I'm going to change our city with Rising Leaders. As Dr. Bankston, who I like to call my favorite critic, when she echoed the words of urgency, it reminded me of the book by Dr. Martin Luther King that he wrote that says, Why We Can't Wait. If you go back and read the book, I read the book, like the educational and the poverty data that he had in that book back then is worse today than it was back then.
You better tell the truth.
In closing, I'm excited. Don't give a preacher a microphone. I believe in what we do at Rising Leaders. It moves me. And I don't do anything that doesn't move me. I believe in the young lives who are being transformed at Rising Leaders. I believe in you. Let's continue to change the world together. We inspire young leaders. We equip young leaders. How about this one? We cover young leaders.
Yeah.
We release young leaders to go and to do the same thing for their generation. Thank you all so much, and God bless you.